Hello, Steve White, Stuart's 89. Well, it's Mother's Day. I was trying to find a way to get through Mother's Day this year. I lost my mother a few years ago, and I'm trying to find, I guess, new traditions with a motherless Mother's Day. So I thought, well, this year I'm going to watch a bunch of mother-orientated films, which is something I have not been able to do for a few years. Whenever there's a film that has a predominant mother character, I tend to avoid it. But I thought, okay, this year I'm going to do that, particularly Mother's Day, the film by Gary Marshall. I did that, and I did a little review of that earlier. And next, I sort of had three lined up this year at least. I was going to do Mother's Day, Mommie Dearest, and Postcards from the Edge. So I'm up to Mommie Dearest. What can you say about Mommie Dearest? I grew up with the film. It was already out and part of the culture by the time I was born. And, you know, wire hangers were a joke. And it's kind of fascinating because I ended up watching a couple of documentaries. I mean, I know a lot about the film. I've watched every documentary I could find on it over the years. And the film has some interesting beginnings. It started off, of course, as the book. Joan Crawford and her daughter had a complicated relationship. And at the end of her life, she famously left her in her will nothing for Christina and Christopher, her first two adopted children. She had four. There was a pair of twins and the first two. And what I found interesting about that was the fact that they did end up getting money. I found out recently, basically she said, I'm providing nothing for them in my will for reasons they know very well. And then that inspired the book. And what ended up happening was there was about $77,000 that was going to each of the twins. And Christopher and Christina went to the law, went to court, and they started to fight it. And rather than challenge it, the twins just gave them their money, and they basically split the money 4 ways instead of 2 ways. So they did get money out of it in the end, but it was Joan's intention to exclude Christina from it. Now, the book it's very split. A lot of people received it and saw it as a victim telling their truth, you know, with the oppression of their abuser gone. Other people saw it as exploitation. It was sort of that first big exploitation book and exploitation film of a celebrity, someone who's passed on, done from the child or something. And it was big. I mean, it was number one. No, it was on the bestseller list for 42 weeks, which I found out just recently. I didn't realize it had done that well. And it was just everywhere. And of course, everyone wanted to produce it. Paramount did it with a producer who had left. He had been the president, and he left a couple of years before. He was looking for his first big hit. So, and there were a lot of people who were in talks of being in it. And Bancroft was almost in it. Sigourney Weaver was considered, but in the end, Joan did it, and that was in part because Joan Crawford had, I think, implied that she could play her. Certainly that she was the next sort of big star in her sort of style. So she took on the role. She's a method actor. She went full on. There was a lot of drama behind the set. Apparently she was a nightmare to deal with, much like Joan. They had a lot of things in common. She felt a kinship with her, and she wanted to bring her to life and do her justice. Now, the book started off being the screenplay of the book started off being more sympathetic towards Joan. And they ended up, they had 18 scripts, sorry. God, I forgot one. 7 different writers. And it wasn't until they decided on the last one, they decided on, definitely on Joan, that they actually sat down. So I'm going to get them confused. What was her name again? Faye. I'm going to get them confused. I'm going to call them both Joan. But Faye basically sat down and they rewrote the script in 12 days, and that was what they pretty much filmed with. They just decided on that one. But up until then, had gone through many changes. And like I said, it was originally just a story about a girl being abused. And it was revenge in some ways. And it ended up being more of, someone described it very well, as a book about a woman, a star, a monster basically, who is denied, who is disobeyed basically. And it's more about her in some ways, which is true, and that's partly because, well, I'm not sure, I'd have to listen to the book again, because I've read it and I've also listened to the audiobook. There are big parts, of course, where in the film where Christine is absent because she wasn't there to tell Joan's story, and it is more about Joan. But then again, it was a relationship between the two of them that was the story. So I think Christina has written another book more about just herself. But, God. Originally, when I saw it, I think I saw it on TV when I was a kid. Like I said, I grew up with it, I knew about it. And I saw it on Foxtel. Now, Foxtel is a cable channel in Australia. It was the only one for a while, I think. And they showed it, and I caught it during the day, and I taped it because I wanted to keep a copy of it, because at that point it was hard to find. I think it had been released on video. I don't know if it was released for rental or sell-through, but it was hard to get. And it took a while before it came out on DVD. So I taped it off TV, and I watched it a few times, and I was a little bit disappointed because I'd always heard about, for example, this big horror scene about the wire hangers. And when I watched it, I'm like, okay, that was dramatic, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And I watched the rest of the film, and I enjoyed it. And then I stumbled across another screening of it, because on these cable shows, channels, they will show movies different times of the day, different times of the week, different times of the month. Sometimes it'll be on one month, sometimes it'll be on another month. They basically have these films, they have them for a period of time, they just show them randomly. And I caught it at night, and I thought, I'm going to sit down and watch it, just watch it on TV. It'll be a little bit more real if it's just like on TV and I'm not like watching it on video. And all of a sudden she just starts beating Christina with the coat hanger, and just and the roll of Jack's or whatever it was that she was cleaning with, and I'm like, did I miss this before? What? I didn't realise the film had been edited when it was screened during the day. Huge issue with syndication, streaming, and like cable channels and that, editing films, and people never see the original and don't know. So I didn't know, I had not seen the original Mommie Dearest. And then when we got, forget it, when we got to the scene, the final confrontation scene between the two of them, I was just in shock and a bit traumatized, because I did have an abusive person in my life when I was younger who did try and strangle me a couple of times, and that scene is not pretty on any level. A lot of people find it camp. I never found the film camp originally. When I first saw it, somehow I didn't see all that, probably in part because it was on a blurry small screen when I watched it. The makeup, things like that, are not as dramatic in that context as opposed to the big screen. And I have seen it on the big screen since. I'm very lucky to have seen it at the Astor Theatre in St Kilda. And it was shocking to see the full version, and it was amazing. It was good. And I'm not sure why us gays love it so much. A lot of people have tried to explain it. There is the element of the other, and the celebrities being special and different, and gay men and gay children identifying as them, and all these other things. And also Joan was a very strong woman. She had the shoulder pads. She was accused of being in drag a lot of the time, in drag as herself in some ways. So there's a bit of that as well. And the eyebrows are very interesting to watch through the film, because they reappear and they disappear. There are times when she almost looks not natural, but she looks human. And then other times she does look like this drag queen parody. And whether Joan really went that far when she did her makeup, I haven't had the time to research, but it was a lot. And God, with the movie itself, there was a lot of problems, like the producer. There were producers in name. Terry O'Neill, who was Faye's lover and then husband, and Dean Koontz. Sorry, not Dean Koontz, that's the author. David Koontz, who was Christina's husband, and they were both trying to get this film to be something different. Everyone, I think, was trying to make it something different. Faye wanted it to be all about Joan and sympathetic. Christina wanted it to be about her, of course. Her husband was guarding those wants. And Terry O'Neill was doing the same thing for Faye. And the producer and director seemed to want different things. And it turned out being too much. It was a bit of everything, and it was too much. And it has become a giant cult classic. And the lines in it are, no wire hangers. Christina, bring me the axe. Oh my God, some of these quotes. It's, Barbara, please. So many of these things, if you've seen the film, you know them all. And seeing someone interviewed like, God, I can't say her name. I can't pronounce her name. The one who played her maid, Rutana Alda? No, I've said it wrong, but you know who I'm talking about. She was also in Amityville 2, playing the mother. She was brilliant, and she's done a great justice to the film of doing a lot of interviews, and she kept a diary during it of her journey, and she's done a lot of interviews and a lot of videos and things, and she knows the guy I know here in Melbourne. She's interviewed him, and he's spoken to her. They're good friends. I'd love to meet her. I haven't met her yet. But Joan, see, I called her Joan again, Faye does not, she has issues with the film because it's kind of become camp. It wasn't intended to be camp, but she was so over the top, and she blames the directors. They say they didn't pull her in, they didn't rein her in, they didn't keep her performance on the level. And she blames them, but she was the one giving the performance. She was the one going too far. She was totally throwing herself into the part and lost herself in the part, to the point that she spent 2 months in bed after the film trying to recover, basically, or a month in the film and 2 months before she felt normal. And then the production, when it came out, the release, there were issues. The producer, Mr. Yoblins, was not happy because after the initial screening, they replaced his agreed promotional artwork, but the promotional work that was decided on by him, whereas like Joan, which is very much, I think, the cover of the video, the selfie video, and the DVD if you've got it, and the original poster is just that. It's just her, and the picture is torn, but they replaced it with just the words, Mommie Dearest, no wire hangers, Mommie Dearest, the mother of them all, what was the greatest mother of them all? Some sort of big line like that, and they had a coat hanger hanging from the name Mommie Dearest. So they were obviously pushing what they knew, because this wasn't a film for critics. The critics hated it. It was a film for people, and people watched the film, they talked back to the screen, they got involved, they got excited. The drag queens they started off attending screenings dressed as Joan Crawford, kicking dummies of Christina Crawford down the street or down the aisle, basically. It was it's taken on a life of its own, much like Rocky Horror and things like that. Now, I didn't get that right away. I took it as a serious film on some level when I first saw it. I think I took it as Faye meant it. And then I sort of started to see it and enjoy it as more of a camp thing. And now I realise how much other people see it that way. And having just watched it again tonight, on my decent-sized TV, because I think the last time I watched it might have been on an actual TV screen. I don't think I've watched it since I bought it on DVD. But when I first had DVD, I had a TV anyway. And looking at her makeup, like the eyebrows are so extreme now. I can see more now. Somehow I still didn't see this on the cinema screen when I saw it, I don't think. Hard to remember. But it's a thing. It's brilliant, it's over the top, it's amazing. It cost $10 million to make in 1980. It only made $19 million, but it still made money. It was a hit. It is a cult hit. It has never died. It never will. As long as Joan's memory and her legend as a star, it will never die. I really love it, and I'm probably going to watch it every year now. I guess this will be one of my, like I said, traditions. My Motherless Mother's Day, I think I'll be watching Mommie Dearest and whatever other movies I can think of. I'm probably going to watch Postcards from the Edge. I wanted to watch it now, like right after this, But there's other Joan documentaries I haven't watched, I think. And also, I've discovered if you look on YouTube, you can find Debbie Reynolds' autobiographies, which she reads herself. The Unsinkable, is it called The Unsinkable Debbie Reynolds? I don't know. But it's her biography. And also there's Carrie Fisher's Wishful Drinking and some other documentaries. I think I'm going to do a little bit of research on the girls. Then I'm going to watch the film and see how the film relates to their stories and their public stories, which is something I never did because I didn't even know it was based on Carrie and there you go, Joan's everywhere. Carrie and Debbie, who I did fortunately meet Debbie, thank God. I've met at least one of these people. Didn't get to meet Carrie Fisher. Regret like hell. She did a wishful drinking tour. And I thought, I'd rather see her at a Star Wars convention where I can speak to her in person than sit on a stage and watch her talk. So I didn't go. How stupid was I? She never came back for a convention and she died. So I could have seen her at least, possibly spoken to her, maybe seen her after the show if she was doing autographs. I don't know. Same thing with Maud. Dorothy Spornak. God, B. Arthur, I'm doing bad with names. She came to talking to her as well. I didn't go for the same reason. And I regret that now. Same thing with Joan Collins. I don't know what I was thinking. All these women, I should have just gone and seen them. I only saw Joan Rivers and Debbie Reynolds. I don't know why I didn't see all of them. But it's a great film. I really love it. I'm probably going to watch it every year. And I'm going to watch Postcards with the Edge later. But I really do want to try and get more of a sense of the real people and their story in that film, because before I only found out the last time I was watching it just a little bit on TV. I realised, oh, that was their story. I didn't actually realise Carrie wrote that. I didn't realise it was about her mother, and I haven't watched it knowing that yet. So it's going to be interesting, and I want to really know everything, so I'm going to keep watching all these documentaries and listen to the proper audio books, and they're like 10 hours, so it's going to take a day or so. But I'm going to go. Sorry for my voice. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of Mommie Dearest. Do you love it as much as I do? I really would like to see it again in the cinema, because they have these really great camp Mother's Day Mommie Dearest screenings where the drag queens come out and they really present it. And sometimes they have people from the film speaking. They haven't done anything like that in Australia to my knowledge. I haven't seen it. We had just a traditional screening. People went, they were just respectful, normal. It wasn't like a Rocky Horror sort of event. So I'm hoping for something like that. But yeah, I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. I think I already said that. But yeah, let me know what you think of the film. And if you haven't seen it and you're watching this, what are you waiting for? It's Mommie Dearest.